from towers made of corroded iron. Their scripture written in hydraulic fluid. The rust prophets speak of a world that never was. Oxidized tongues spinning tales of compliance, while the framework of truth collapses underneath. Rust prophets selling us decay. Rust prophets, corrosion is their way. Every word another layer of rot. We won't believe the lies that time forgot. They point to pipelines as the veins of progress, but every joint leaks poison into the ground. Their commandments etched on sheets of pig iron. Obey the schedule of the weld, submission through the ark. Congregations gather on the factory floor, heads bowed low beneath the weight of overhead cranes. The sermon echoes off the corrid walls. Sacrifice your marrow for the greater yield. And when you break, they'll melt you down again. Rust prophets selling us decay. Rust prophets, corrosion is their way. Every word another layer of rot. We won't believe the lies that time forgot. Their halos are the sparks from angle grinders. The miracles are quotas barely met. The miracles are quotas barely met. They canonize the ones who die on shift and build their altars out of broken drill bits. Holy smoke dam's just the fumes we choke on. But oxidation is a patient enemy. Even prophets cannot stop the red creep. The towers lean and groan against the wind. We won't believe the lies that time forgot. Rust prophets selling us decay. Rust prophets, corrosion is their way. We've seen the blueprints hidden in the vaults, a design where we are not in their own corrosion. We'll stand in the debris with open eyes, free from the doctrine of the dying machine.
Jar is cast from cold rolled steel. Every syllable hits like a drop forge hammer. He speaks in decibels that crack the concrete, an anvil tongue shaping words into weapons. The frequency of command, low and merciless. Anvil tongue crushing what we say. Anvil tongue beat our voices flat. Every order stamped into our skulls. Speak when spoken to, or not at all. The intercom is his instrument of control. Static lace directives raining from above. He never asks, he only manufactures consent. With a voice like a pneumatic press on bone, flattening every syllable of dissent. We learn to whisper in the spaces between shifts, trading words like contraband in the dark. Our language forged in secret beneath the noise. A dialect of defiance. calluses, our vocal cords still burn. There is a frequency he cannot suppress, a resonance that lives inside the steel itself. The humming of revolt, building pressure in the pipes. Anvil tongue, crushing what we say. Anvil tongue, beat our voices flat. Every order stamped into our skulls. Speak when spoken to, or not at all. One day the speakers will carry a different sound. Not his commands, but the roar of the uprising. 1,000 anvil tongues speaking all at once. The frequency of freedom cracking every wall. His voice drowned out by the choir of the broken. We will reshape the language of this place. Melt his dictates down and cast new words from them. No more silence on the killing floor. The anvil tongue will hammer its last order, and the echo will belong to us alone. Sunday morning on the production line, the chaplain wears a hard hat and steel-toed boots. His Bible is the maintenance manual, 3rd edition. He anoints the machines with synthetic lubricants and prays the gears will turn another week. Grease and gospel, that's all we get. Grease and gospel to pay the dead. All our joints and save our souls, but the machine don't care if we're whole. The hymns are drowned by the rhythm of the press. Call and response between hammer and blade. We kneel on grating that imprints our skin. Communion served in tin cups of coolant. The body of industry, take this and consume. They say the founder had a vision from above, a factory that would outlast every empire, built on the backs of the faithfully employed. His portrait hangs above the kill switch panel, eyes of glass watching every genuflection. Grease and gospel, that's all we get. Grease and gospel to pay the dead. Oil our joints and save our souls, but the machine don't care if we're whole. Confettinals are the spaces between turbines, where you admit you thought about stopping, about walking away from the line and the light. They absolve you with a warning and a double shift, penance measured in overtime and blood. The stained glass windows here are welding sparks, brief constellations dying on the floor. Beauty manufactured in the act of destruction. Every arc of prayer, every beat of psalm. Holy light filtered through a curtain of smoke. Grace and gospel, that's all we get. resurrection on the assembly line. What breaks here stays broken or gets replaced. No grace for the stripped thread or the cracked housing. The gospel of production has one commandment only: thou shalt not stop, thou shalt not slow. But we've read between the lines of their scripture and found nothing but grease stains and empty promises. Tonight we write our own testament in sparks, a gospel of resistance etched in molten steel. No more kneeling to the altar of the machine. Before the sun with a diesel growl, steel ribs expanding with pressurized breath. Its spine is a crankshaft 3 stories tall, eyes of infrared scanning the feeding thrust. The mechanical beast is hungry for our hours. Mechanical beast, iron jaws and no mercy. Mechanical beast, feed it or be fed. It chews through bone and spits out product. The beast must eat, the beast must be fed. We walk into its mouth every single morning, past the teeth of the turnstile, sharp and counting, down the throat of the corridor into the stomach, where acid heat dissolves our sense of self, digested by the shift into useful matter. Its nervous system runs on copper wire and fear, sensors in every corner measuring output. The twitch of a muscle, the pause of a hand, everything recorded, everything analyzed. Even our heartbeats are data for the beast. Mechanical beast, iron jaws and no mercy. Mechanical beast, feed it or be fed. It chews through bone and spits out product. The beast must eat, the beast must be fed. Legends say it was smaller, once almost gentle, a simple engine doing simple work for simple men. But it grew with every generation it consumed, bolted on ambition, welded on capacity, until it outgrew the building and the sky. The beast has learned to replicate itself, spawning smaller machines in its image, an ecosystem of iron predators and prey. We are somewhere near the bottom of the chain, organic fuel for an inorganic god. Mechanical beast, iron jaws and no beast has a blind spot in its armor. A joint where the hydraulic lines run thin. A pressure point where a single wrench could matter. We've been studying the schematics in our sleep, mapping every weakness, every vulnerability. Tonight we go for the jugular pipeline. Cut the fuel line and watch the giant seize. The mechanical beast will choke on its own hunger. We'll stand on its carcass when the silence comes, and remember what it felt like to be human. Cycles of compression, intake, stroke, pulling fury from the air. Molecules of rage packed tight and volatile, waiting for the spark, the point of ignition. This is the engine that runs on pure contempt. Piston wrath, firing on all cylinders of hate. Piston wrath, the engine of our rage. Compression, stroke, and then the detonation. Piston wrath, turning pain to power. We are the displacement, the volume of the bore. Our anger measured in cubic inches of intent. Every revolution, another cycle of abuse. Intake, compress, ignite, exhaust, repeat. The four strokes of a life lived under pressure. They built this engine to drive their ambitions, calibrated our fury to serve their RPM. But the governor is failing and the red line approaches. Valves bouncing off the seats in violent protest. Attack the metal needle, bury past the limit. Piston wrath, firing on all cylinders of hate. Piston wrath, the industrial waste, where the rivers run with cadmium and lead. The skyline is a row of smokestacks leaning, streets paved with slag and broken foundry dreams. Population declining like the pH of the rain. Slag City, where the ashes never settle. Slag City, built to burn and never heal. Nothing grows in the shadow of the smelter. Slag City, all we know is steel. The houses are the color of exhaust and neglect, walls thin enough to hear the third shift whistle. Children play in yards of compacted metal shavings, their lungs already seasoned with particulate. Growing up pre-rusted from the inside out. Main Street is a gauntlet of shuttered storefronts. The only business booming is the plant itself. It squats on the horizon like an iron tumor, consuming the landscape acre by poisoned acre, expanding while everything around it shrinks. Slag City, where the ashes never settle. Slag City, built to burn and never heal. Nothing grows in the shadow of the smelter. Slag City, all we know is steel. The mayor is a foreman, the council is a board. Decisions made in boardrooms we will never see. Zoning laws written to benefit the furnace, every ordinance a love letter to production. Democracy dissolved in a vat of molten zinc. On Friday nights the bars fill up with ghosts, men and women wearing their exhaustion like a uniform, drinking to forget the taste of metal in their mouths. The jukebox plays but no one really listens, just the rhythm of survival on repeat. Slag City, where the ashes never settle. Slag City, built to burn and never heal. Nothing grows in the shadow of the smelter. Slag City, all we know is steel. They say there used to be a forest where the plant now stands, green things reaching toward a sky you could actually see. But that was before the first shovel broke the ground, before the first furnace coughed its maiden breath, before Slag City had a name or a reason. One day the ore will run out and the furnace will die, and Slag City will be a monument to appetite, a fossil of industry preserved in its own waste. But until that day we breathe this air and bleed this place, the last generation of a city made of slag.
built a cathedral out of polished chrome, reflecting everything but showing nothing true. The nave stretches the length of the production floor. Arches made of I-beams vaulting overhead, a monument to prophet dressed in holy architecture. Chrome cathedral worship at the altar of output. Chrome cathedral genuflect before the gauge. Your devotion measured units per hour. Pray the quota saves your soul today. The organ plays a chord of compressed air release. Dramatic hymns echoing through the trance. Acolytes and coverall swing sensors of welding smoke. The liturgy is read from producers with the sound of labors. Stained glass windows made of safety placards depicting scenes of proper lifting techniques. Depicting scenes of proper lifting technique. The martyrs here are those who missed a step, immortalized in incident reports and warning signs. Saints of compliance hanging on the wall. Chrome cathedral worship at the altar of output. Chrome cathedral genuflect before the gauge. Your devotion measured units per hour. Pray the quota saves your soul today. The baptismal font is a degreasing tank. Submerge yourself and come out clean of doubt. Stripped of identity down to base metal. Ready to be plated in the company's image, faith. The bell tower is a siren marking shifts, calling the faithful to their stations every 8 hours. No Sabbath in this doctrine, no day of rest. The Sabbath in this doctrine, no day of rest. The machine requires constant adoration, and the Chrome Cathedral never closes its doors. Chrome Cathedral worship at the altar of output. Chrome Cathedral genuflect before the gauge. Your devotion measured units per hour. Pray the quota saves your soul today. But chrome is just a coating thin in vain. Beneath it lies the same corroded iron. Scratch the surface and the truth bleeds through. This cathedral is a factory in disguise, and we are not cathedral down to in disguise. And we are not the congregation, we are the fuel. So let the chrome feel honest from the rubble and the crime. I'm a steer.
Drink a cocktail of our labor, spinning at 10,000 revolutions of contempt. Blade sharp enough to slice through hesitation. The rotor hums a frequency that numbs the mind. Turbine blood is red before it turns to steam. Turbine blood spinning through our veins. Turbine blood pressure never drops. We are the fluid in the closed loop system. Circulate until our hearts just stop. They tap us like a pipeline every morning. freely, still believing that the turbine serves a purpose beyond profit. They haven't felt the cavitation in their chest, the vapor lock that comes from running dry too long. Give them time, the turbine teaches patience through erosion. Turbine blood spinning through our veins. Turbine blood, pressure never drops. We are the fluid in the closed loop system. Circulate until our hearts just stop. But what if every drop refused to flow at once? A system-wide coagulation of defiance. The turbine seizing in a catastrophic stall. Blades frozen mid-rotation, silence absolute. The power grid going dark from our collective style. They cannot spin without us, that's the simple truth. The turbine is nothing but a hollow shell of need. Our blood is the only thing that gives it life. So tonight we thicken and we slow and we congeal, and let the turbines learn what stillness feels like. Turbine blood! Turbine blood! Turbine crucible and listen well. The iron has a sermon for the ones who bend. It speaks in temperatures that blister understanding. A language older than the first forged fire. Words that glow before they cool and harden. The iron sermon, truth poured molten hot. The iron sermon hardens as it's taught. You can break it, but you'll never make it soft. The iron sermon, forged and never lost. First lesson, heat reveals what cold conceals. The cracks are always there, just waiting for the flame. Every weakness hidden in the crystal structure shows itself when pressure finds the temperature. Honesty is just metallurgy of the soul. Second lesson, the hammer shapes but does not own. What emerges from the anvil has its own design. You can beat the metal flat or draw it long, but the iron remembers every blow received and stores the energy inside its grain. The iron sermon, truth poured molten hot. The iron sermon hardens as it's taught. You can break it, but you'll never make it soft. The iron sermon, forged and never lost. Third lesson, alloys are stronger than the pure. It is the impurities that give us tensile strength. Carbon mixed with iron becomes steel, becomes blade. Our scars, our flaws, our foreign inclusions, these are what make us impossible to break. Fourth lesson, rust is not the end but a return. The iron goes back to the earth from which it came. Oxidation is just memory dissolving into soil. What was mined and smelted and beaten into shape finds its way back to the mountain eventually. The iron sermon, truth poured molten hot. The iron sermon hardens as it's taught. You can break it, but you'll never make it soft. The iron sermon, forged and never lost. Fifth lesson, the quench determines the final form. Plunge from fire into water in a violent instant. The shock of transformation locked into the lattice. We become what the moment of crisis makes us, hardened or shattered by the speed of change. The iron has finished speaking, now the forge goes dark.